All right, we're live. Welcome to the Commissioner Evaluation Dynasty Day Trader Show. I'm John McGlynn. We're a little late today, but, better late than never. You can find me on the Twitter machine at John McGlynn75. I'd like to thank Scott Sidlow, also known as Portfolio Dynasty, who can be found on the Twitter machine at Scott_Sidlow, for joining me again. And I'd also like to thank Nick Script for the use of his airwaves. Please subscribe to the P2W YouTube channel you are viewing this fabulous Commissioner Evaluation Show on right now, and follow him on TikTok at P2W Fantasy. Enter to win Nick's latest free Verdi and Global shirt contest. How to enter? Follow P2W. Subscribe to any of the iTunes, Spotify, YouTube for the post. And here's the link on the show it's in the show sheet. And then comment on the screenshot that subscribe to enter. So that's it. Random winner picked Friday for the T-shirt of your choice. And here we go.
Free.
I play to win, no fear to give. I feel, but I can't forgive. I go all in this time, yeah, I won't regret. I'll pick the best on trip, they don't understand. I play to win, yeah, I play to win. I play to win, yeah, I play to win. I play to win, oh, play to win. I play to win, yeah, play to win. I play to win.
Go ahead. Today we'll evaluate free agency frenzy that unfolded so far, how it impacts players' fantasy values, and then we'll look at a couple Mighty McGlynn Dynasty Home League trades. So, what's new, Scott? You got a busy day today?
Always free agency, man. This is the time of year. This is so much fun. I love it. There's been some interesting signings so far, but mostly pretty much what we see every year,
Mm-hmm.
Value up, value down. Let's go, baby. Throw out some offers.
I've been sending out I've sent out like 30 offers. Now my offers are always bad, so you know how bad my offers are. But
yeah, I didn't even read them. I just decline.
Thanks, man.
No worries, man.
So the Bears, we're going to start with team by team here. We'll do it as fast as we can just to get you guys through your day on the way home from work, hopefully. Bears, Darrington Evans. He'd need a couple injuries to make an impact on this team. They've already got a couple running backs going. Anything on the Bears?
I mean, they cut Cohen and they replaced him with Evans, so they just got a cheaper, younger version and non-injured version of what he can do. So he fills that role, and Herbert basically backs up Monty in the 3-down role, and he could be between the tackles. Evans is your, passing down guy. So it works NFL wise. It's fantasy, really no impact.
Cohen was such an electric player, but he was nowhere between the tackles kind of guy. So this is a little bit of an upgrade as far as being able to use the versatility, but at the same time, he does not have the electricity that Cohen had. But it's you had to when guys leave, you got to replace them somehow, and this is a nice replacement. Bills, Isaiah McKenzie re-signed to a 2-year, $4.4 million contract. J.D. McKissick, which is a huge addition to this team, is a pass blocker and a pass catcher out of the backfield. The Bills made some important moves as far as I'm concerned. Any suggestions on these guys?
The one thing that I always noted, and it's literally one of my first major general notes in fantasy football, is to avoid Brian Daboll running backs. And so now that he's gone, I'll be very interested to see how they use these guys. They all kind of have their roles, but who knows? I mean, it seems like there's a different guy in there every week. We obviously know what McKissick can do in the passing game. So if he's on your waivers, he's a nice pickup. Throw out a fourth for him. He's a guy that if he gets that passing down work, okay, that's fine. But he's really not going to score a lot of touchdowns, most likely. And, he's not going to get any goal line work. So this would strictly be like a PPR fill-in guy if you build your rosters where you leave the RB2 spot weak. Maybe use him a couple times a season. McKenzie is a typical, like late draft guy that's been around. He knows the system, and they're like, hey, we're just going to pay him, keep him around because we lost all the other guys other than, Diggs and Davis. And so he's probably not going to have a huge impact. If he ends up taking over the slot role for Beasley, he could certainly get on our radars, but not somebody I'm rushing out to get right away.
On the on the trade market today, I tried trading a mid to late third and early, like a 401. So let's say 306 and a 401 to get McKissick, and the team already had Josh Allen and really low running backs on, and I got denied across the board in like 3 leagues for those kind of offers. So I'm not. I think I'm not sure with Singletary. Moss is still locked up for the next 2 years, and he's cheap.
Rookie.
McKissick is. I'm not really sure why. What people think McKissick is going to be. I just want him as a depth piece for my team. I think a late third and early fourth is pretty fair, and it was instantaneously laughed at and rejected everywhere. So, McKenzie, I mean, Beasley had a pretty big role in this offense, so I'm pretty happy with the McKenzie situation, especially because he turned it on pretty well towards the end of last season when Beasley was out. So, I already have McKenzie in a bunch of leagues. No need to trade for him, but if you needed to get a slot receiver and you had Josh Allen, something just to tie him to, what would you trade to get McKenzie on your team? Isaiah McKenzie.
I'm not really giving up more than a third. I guess if you want to do a late second, the problem is this draft class is not really. There's so many wide receivers in this class, so I'd rather just take my shot on the unknown there. But if you wanted to stack him with Allen and you felt like he is going to take over that Beasley role, I could see someone paying a second for him, maybe paying a second and getting a third or fourth back.
Yeah,
like you move back a couple rounds type of thing. I would not be opposed to that, but it does kind of seem like an overpay just saying it out loud.
Yeah. I get it. Yeah. Broncos, not too much news. Browns, Dearness Johnson tendered to a $2.43 million deal. Devin Njoku. Cleveland oddly thought Njoku's 3.5 targets per game was worth $10 million. So I don't know. The Browns.
I don't get it. I'm sad. I'm just sad for Njoku. I just wanted to see him freed, man. I just wanted to see him go somewhere and do something, but now they still got the logjam, man. It's Hooper, Njoku, and Harrison Bryant. They use all 3 of them. They run 2 tight ends, top 5 in the league. They're 12 personnel. They're running that at a top 5 rate. So 2 tight ends are on the field, and they don't have a lot of receiving weapons. They did trade for Amari Cooper, so we'll see what they do there. Then they cut Landry. So, I mean, there's, I don't know what the hell they're doing. All these guys are just kind of taking away from each other. And honestly, as long as Baker's the quarterback, I don't care.
Yeah, I think they're trying to get rid of Baker so hard. They just don't have enough horses to make the deal happen for Deshaun Watson. So they're going to probably be stuck with Baker. And I'm not sure what Amari Cooper just becomes an average guy, somewhere in the middle of the pack receiver at this point in time. He's no longer a Raider. So it's and the 2 tight end set. It's just no Landry. I'm not sure there's anybody besides Nick Chubb on this team that you'd want in fantasy. I don't. I'm not trading. If I have Njoku, I'm going to hold him because I can't get anything for him anymore.
Yeah, right.
And Dearness Johnson's a good. If Kareem Hunt leaves, Dearness Johnson will be a good. A good replacement.
Johnson's on a lot of the end of my rosters. I like him as a piece because he can fill in for either one. Chubb or Hunt. So whether it's injury, suspension, whatever. I like having him at the end of the roster.
Yeah, he flashed a little bit in the games that he had 70% of Cleveland snaps in the games when he was able to be the main guy.
Yeah,
he did very well. He's only 26. I mean, I'm not going to say he's only 20. He is 26. But I mean, if you're in a win now team and you need an extra guy, I would definitely throw probably a late second or early third for Dearness Johnson as a guy because there's nothing else in the draft this year around that time. Late third or early third, late second. That's going to get you a Dearness Johnson type upside player. So that's just my.
I like that. Yeah.
Buccaneers, Chris Godwin, franchise tagged him. If you got him, you got him. Hopefully, the way ACLs are kind of, he had a couple more things than just the ACL. I think he had not an MCL, a PCL tear too. So he had a couple things going on. But guys come back from these injuries so fast, and then with Brady back now, this kind of the franchise tag fell. It was either him or the defensive back that was going to get franchise tagged.
Carlton Davis.
And when they franchise tagged Godwin, I figured that, man, I'm like, so I should trade for Brady right now. I should go get Brady just in case because of the fact that why are they spending all this money with no quarterback? It doesn't make any sense. And it all made, I mean, it was kind of like the writing was on the wall that this is going to happen. And I didn't move fast enough. But what are you trading for Chris Godwin? Let's just say, I mean, obviously you're probably a win now team because Godwin's already 26. Going to be 27. if you wanted to get Chris Godwin on a win now team, well,
I'd trade any first in this class for him. I'd be happy. I can move any first for him. I don't care. I put I'm in a dispersal right now. There's 3 teams in it, and our budget was $400.
This is great.
And it's an auction dispersal. My budget was $400. I got Chris Godwin for $12.
This was the best story.
So I mean, that's probably my favorite auction pick, dispersal pick, whatever ever. I mean, $12. Like, are you kidding me? It's like, okay.
Yeah.
You know, so yeah, I guess people are down. I mean, listen, there's only 3 people in it. You know, if 2 people are not a Godwin person, then I guess, okay, I get them for nothing. But to me, I'm buying. You know, if people are saying, oh, he's not going to play the first 6 weeks or whatever, he's on the franchise tag, where's he going to go? Blah, blah, blah. Listen, teams typically don't franchise tag players to just let them go, especially when it takes up such a huge cap hit. That's like $19 million. They want to sign him long term so they can lower that cap hit. So they're going to try to re-sign him.
Mm-hmm.
Regardless who's the quarterback. Honestly, I don't care where Godwin goes. He's a great player. I'll take him. Any first round pick in this class, I will take him. No problem. 100%.
His skill set is to be the number. I don't think he's a number 1 receiver. I think he's great. He has a numbers that could be a low end number 1, high end number 2, but in reality, he is a number 2 wide receiver. When he's got somebody on the field that complements him and he could just be a middle of the field a terror, he is fantastic. So he's gonna have a long life as long as he doesn't keep have any more ACL problems. I mean, he's a guy that can go to 31 years old, 32 years old, and still be a good slot receiver. So any first for Chris Godwin to me, yes, at this point in time, even if I'm not in win now, he's still young enough where I could take a chance on him for the next 3 or 4 years to keep on my team. I agree there. Cardinals, Colt McCoy. That's in case anybody was interested in Colt McCoy. They signed him.
Hey, I started him in a 14-teamer last year.
I mean, probably a late 17th. Maybe you can get you Colt McCoy, but that's you got him in a deep super flex. But James Conner returns to Arizona on a 3-year, $21 million deal. I hate this because I really have I have a lot of the running back depth in Arizona. So this really kind of pissed me off a little bit. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I'm not a James Conner guy, and I had 0 shares of him until the trade deadline last year, where I picked up 2 shares. And one of them got me to a 3rd place finish, and the other one got me to a championship finish. So regardless, I was happy with that, and I wasn't worried about any value. But now that he resigns, and now that Edmonds is gone, I think that's great, and I will be absolutely trying to sell him because he's made of glass. So if this gives him any value, he's out.
Go get Eno Benjamin. Everybody, go get Eno Benjamin.
Absolutely.
I have Eno Benjamin. I'm not that I think Eno Benjamin is going to be take over the league if he gets the starting role, but he's going to have the opportunity and he's going to be good just because of what he's going to have. But as soon as Eno Benjamin gets in there and gets a starting role, probably after one good week, I'm going to trade him away too. But these are both tradable assets. They're James Conner did such a great job last year. You could probably sell him right now at his high value.
Yeah, I agree.
What would you pay to get? What would you sell? What would you take to get James Conner off your roster if somebody offered you something?
So I have to think of this as the only 2 rosters I have him on. I'm a competing team. One is a half PPR league where I like him a little better, although he did show he caught the ball really well, especially last year. So I guess that doesn't change much for me. I'm not sure that I would just take a second. I'd be more likely to package him.
I think you froze there, Scott. So for a package for James Conner, I would take another a wide receiver of like a wide receiver 3.
So what I'd like to do.
Oh, you're coming in and out. There you go.
Back. There we go.
You're back. I heard that you'd like to package him and then it broke up.
Yeah, his standalone value isn't enough to me. Nobody's giving you a first for him. And getting a second isn't going to replace that position. So unless maybe if you need a receiver or something in this class, otherwise I'd like to offer him plus a second or him plus a first to upgrade a position.
Yeah. I just traded away Zach Ertz. I got Amir Smith reset and a third in 2023. and he signs this long-term deal. Now, he did well last year when Hopkins was out, and I think when Hopkins plays, he's not a, it's almost like his value is polarized depending on who's on the field with him. I don't think he's going to be the star receiver, the star tight end that ended up being the season. Plus, he's already 31 years old. He's only a year younger than Zach Ertz. So, I mean, Travis Kelce. So he's getting older. Tight ends don't last forever. I have a feeling they're going to bring somebody else on the team soon, and probably in the draft, another younger tight end to kind of take over for him. I mean, it's a 3-year deal, but only the first year is like guaranteed, or mostly guaranteed anyway. So I do like Zach Ertz, but I mean, where would you? Obviously, now Amir Smith-Marset in a couple thirds probably isn't going to get it done. But what would you, if you needed a tight end real bad, what would you trade to get Zach Ertz? Uh-oh, Scott's gone. So myself, but you heard my trade already. It was a terrible situation for what I needed. But I'm thinking if I can, with this news that Zach Ertz just got this nice contract, I'm trading him away. I'm getting rid of him. I'm trying to get a tight end in this draft class. So, one of the top 2 or 3 tight ends, if possible at all. But those are the things you got to do when you have an older tight end that's on it. It's on an offense that doesn't really cater to the tight end. So next up, I'm going to check for Scott jumping in and out. Mike Williams inked a 3-year, $60 million contract. That's big. This was something that we all kind of saw coming. That's good for him. We all knew it was going to be. He'll be back on the team. I'm a huge Mike Williams fan. I'm going to say Mike Williams is going to be a wide receiver 1, a late wide receiver 1, early wide receiver 2 this year, because of the fact that they're an all win now. The defense is better. The offense is more well-rounded. Everything about the Chargers right now is they're building up to be a championship team. So they're going to do whatever it takes to win. I don't know if I have Mike Williams, I don't even know if I'd sell him right now. I think he's a hold. That's what I'm doing. Josh Gordon signed a 1-year deal to stay with Kansas City. That's, nobody cares about that. Mo Alley Cox, that's kind of a blow to receivers who had, that's kind of a blow to anybody who had other tight ends on the Colts. I was kind of hoping that Kylan Granson was going to be somebody that kind of panned out this year, but it didn't happen. So Mo Alley looks like they're in a multiple tight end set anyway. So let's see, Cowboys, Michael Gallup, massive 5 years, $62 million contract. He's going to take over the Mike Gallup role. The Amari Cooper role, but he averaged like 9 targets a year, so I'm super happy with this situation. I like Gallup. I've always liked Gallup. I just feel like he's going to have a situation, an opportunity to be the receiver that we thought he was. I've been a huge Michael Gallup fan forever, so I'm going to try and trade a 2nd-round pick to get Gallup if I can get it. If not, I'm going to stack some pieces, see what somebody needs: a tight end, a running back, a receiver. Maybe a backup quarterback, and try and get Gallup from the Gallup owner if possible. If I did have him, I'm going to try and not trade him away unless I got something, over a late first or 2 seconds, something like that, 2 early seconds. Otherwise, I'm keeping him. Dalton Schultz franchise tag. If you're in a tight end premium league, Dalton Schultz, that's with Amari Cooper gone and Blake Jarwin released from injury, Dalton Schultz is a kind of a must-have. He's probably a mid-range wide receiver, probably a late wide receiver 1. A tight end 1 right now. So I'm going after Schultz if anybody has him, if somebody already is stacked at tight end and didn't think they needed Dalton Schultz to compete. Let's see. Dolphins, Teddy Bridgewater, back up to Tua on a 1-year contract. I'm not sure this is the best thing in the world. I heard in a couple of podcasts, last night and this morning. Tua's not your average backup. He's not. Teddy's not your average backup, and Tua's not killing it either. This is kind of a bad situation. I think what happens if Teddy comes in here and actually wins this job over Tua halfway through the season? What do you do then? At that point in time, you're just punting. You're the Dolphins themselves are just punting, saying, "Hey, we got to build for the future with a quarterback in 2023," and it is what it is. So I don't think they're high on Tua to bring a quarterback of this caliber in the offense. Uh, I'm selling Tua right now if I had a chance, if I had the opportunity. Chase Edmonds, this is a hand-picked addition for the Dolphins. So Mike McDaniel loves this guy. They paid him $12 million for 2 years to come in here. I'm not saying he's going to be the man, but he's going to definitely have the opportunity to be the man. So I would try to acquire him if you need a running back or some running back depth. I know it's a timeshare. There's 3 running backs on the team, but for McDaniel to say I want this guy, it really says something. I'm buying Chase Edmonds wherever I can. I'm going to try and get a late second, early third if possible. That's what I'm paying for him. Anything more than that, I'll just go through the draft. Anything less than that, probably I take it, but I'd obviously hold if somebody was off for me. If I had Edmonds, I'm not letting him go for anything less than that. Mike Gesicki, we kind of figured that he was going to be tagged, and he got tagged. So he's a good tight end, but now they have a whole bunch of slot receivers on this team. They're going to eat up his volume. So I'm going to Gesicki's another one. I at this point in time, I'm probably selling him. It's a 1-year deal. They're gonna try and pelt him with targets, but they got Hunter Long on the depth chart. They're trying to probably see what they have in him this year as the year goes on. Gesicki, he's not a tight end one. If you don't have the top 5 or 6 tight ends, Gesicki flashes sometimes, but in a tight end premium, he's probably your second tight end, or if he is your first tight end, it's okay. But I'm trying to trade Gesicki for a valuable wide receiver, or a quarterback like Davis Mills or something like that, if you need quarterback depth, because Gesicki's he's an average. You can get a million tight ends kind of like in his area that aren't going to produce on a regular basis. So Cedric Wilson joins Miami. 1.7 yards per route run from the slot. Exactly. Him and Mike, exactly what we're talking about. Him and Waddle and Gesicki are going to eat up the middle of the field. I'm not sure what these guys' values are, because they're going to eat into each other the entire time. It's going to be a tough sell for these guys to get any. They're all going to have about the same amount of targets, same amount of catches. None of them are going to be studs. They're just average players. So at this point in time, you're looking at average, middle of the road players. They're all kind of holds right now because you can't get what you want for them, and they're not worth selling. Boston Scott, he is now another pain in the ass for Miles Sanders. It's for the Eagles. That's a terrible situation, but that's what you expected with that kind of offense in Philadelphia. Falcons, Olamide Zacchaeus. He is Atlanta's default wide receiver 1. If somebody thinks he's a wide receiver 1, then sell him as a wide receiver 1. That's fantastic, because it's not going to last long. They're going to draft players. Somebody else is coming in. It is what it is. And I don't think he's a true wide receiver 1 anyway. So if somebody's going to pay for it because they need a receiver and they think that this is what he's worth, then jump on it. Jaguars, Christian Kirk, 4 years, $72 million. What an overpay. I mean, I don't care. I'm glad to see these players get money. I'm happy when these guys get paid. It makes me so happy to see these guys who've been playing football since they were 5 years old finally get the NFL and get overpaid. There's nothing wrong with that. I better see it in the hands of the players and the owners. So have at it. But I don't think he's a wide receiver 1 like he was paid for. He's a mid-range wide receiver 2 at best. I mean, it's fantastic because he's not going to be a wide receiver 1. They just got Zay Jones. That's another wide receiver. Like they have like an Evan Ingram also is on this team now. They have 15 guys in the middle of the field. So I'm not sure who's going to be the go-to guy. It's going to be a boom or bust game for every one of these guys going forward. Trevor Lawrence is the only real winner here because he's going to have 1,000. First of all, he's not going to get sacked a million times because he's got so many dump-off guys. He got a couple offensive linemen also in free agency. So Trevor Lawrence is the biggest winner here. None of these players that went to the Jaguars are considered winners to me as far as that goes. The Jets, Tevin Coleman, no, thank you. Braxton Barrios, saw what happened. If you get points for punt returns, kick returns, stuff like that, Braxton Barrios is a kind of a cheat code as far as that goes, or it helps you get some points anyway. But you signed to a 2-year, $12 million contract. He was just replacing Jamison Crowder. I'm a fan of Braxton Barrios as my wide receiver 4, probably. That's fantastic. I'll take him. I'm not sure what you could, if anybody wants to buy him or if you can even trade him away, but he's a nice hold. I keep on the end of your roster. CJ Uzama and Mike LaFleur's awesome in Mike LaFleur's offense. 3-year, $24 million contract. I'm pretty happy with CJ Uzama. He's an experienced guy. He's 29 years old. He's been around. He's seen a lot of different offensive systems already. So I would keep. I'm a hold on CJ Uzama. And again, somebody else who is not flashy. Everybody knows his name, but he's never really produced. He's a hold. Let him pan out, and if he starts having some pretty decent games towards the middle of the year, go ahead. Ship him off. Have at it. Lions, Tim Boyle, just to back up. It is what it is. Josh Reynolds, re-up to a 2-year deal. Hold on, I'm going to get Scott back in here. Re-up to a 2-year deal, and all right, there we go. Josh Reynolds re-up to a 2-year deal. He's 16.1 yards per catch in Detroit's starting lineup from after week 12. So DJ Chark, $10 million guaranteed. DJ Chark flashed for a year, and he died for a year, and then he's average. I don't know why the Jaguars didn't just keep him around. I'm not really sure. Chark, they must see, obviously they see something that we don't, or I don't anyway. I would have paid less for some of the other players they got and kept Chark around too for depth. He knows the system, he knows the quarterback anyway, but it is what it is. The Lions have Jared Goff, and these are the players that he's going to work with now. Good for him. Packers Devontae Adams, he's not playing under the franchise tag. He said he's playing games like Aaron Rodgers. If something will get done, they're already re-signing players to make cap space. These salary caps kind of a joke sometimes the way they're able to negotiate and move stuff around. So he'll be around. Don't worry. Alan Lazard is back on the team. He has he's good. He's an average player. Another one that nobody's going to overpay for. He's better just kept on your team as a wide receiver 3, wide receiver 4. He has some good games. He's not anything crazy. I don't think he went over 82 yards or 84 yards in any game last season. So, but in a PPR, he'll get 4 or 5 catches, 50, 60, 70 yards. He's good for 10, 8, 9, 10 points a game as your wide receiver 4, your second flex. I'll take that. Ian Thomas resigned. I don't know what they were thinking. So re-signing Ian Thomas, they didn't use him before. So this is just a re-sign, not really free agency. It happened a couple weeks ago, but Jacoby Myers, 168 career catches, possession receiver. I think this is something the Patriots really wanted to do, was bring Jacoby Myers back. He is a good wide receiver 3. What would I would trade probably a mid-second to get Jacoby Myers. He's only 25 years old. He's in a nice situation. So him and Mac Jones worked out pretty well. I'll take that. Nothing from the Raiders, nothing from the Rams, Ravens, Saints. Seahawks, Will Dissly, kept in-house, 3-year, $24 million deal. They got Noah Fant on the team already. I'm not really sure where that seems like a decent amount of money for a backup tight end. Steelers, Mitch Trubisky, welcome to Mitchburg. 2-year deal makes Trubisky Pittsburgh starter over Mason Rudolph. Rushing upside and some time to get his head straight behind Josh Allen may have served him pretty well. I'm excited for this situation. It's the team itself got better with the Mitch Trubisky signing. It's only a 2-year deal, but I'm honestly they are taking a chance on Mitch Trubisky. They may draft a quarterback this year just to kind of let him sit behind Trubisky or let Trubisky, prove himself. But I honestly think that Trubisky, with this, even though he's only a quarterback for a year and a half in college, I think he learned a lot. He was dealt a lot of bad cards. I think where he's at right now, he's a good mid-range quarterback 2 for your team. I'm taking Mitch. I'm not expecting him to be a top 10, top 12 quarterback, but he's probably going to be in the 16 to 22 range. And I'll take that for on my Superflex team. Dwayne Haskins slapping a $2 million tender. That's I would just stay away from Dwayne Haskins. I don't know why they gave him $2.5 million and a first round tender. Nobody's going to match that. He's not going anywhere. If you have him, just keep him until you need to cut somebody, and that's about it. Texans Jeff Driscoll. That's I mean he's terrible. So don't even worry about that. Chris Connolly, a deep threat, brought back in a 1-year deal. Average player. You're not going to get much for him. You can't trade him for anything. Nobody's going to want him anymore. He's generally speaking, he's almost a cut candidate now in most teams. Jeff Swain, a blocking tight end, signed a 1-year deal with the Titans. That's another bad situation. And that's about it so far for free agency, unless something popped up that I didn't see or something popped up that was not available to me yet. But that's it. The only one Mighty McGlynn trade that happened so far. These are PPR, tight end premium, super flex, tight end premium 0.75, 12 teams, 30 players, no kickers, no defense. We got Tyreek Hill for Kenny Golladay, DK Metcalf, Terrence Marshall, and a 2023 second round pick. So that is, also Michael Pittman. Oh, no, that's a different trade. Tyreek Hill for Kenny Golladay, DK Metcalf, Terrence Marshall, and a 2023 second. I'm all over the Kenny Golladay, DK Metcalf, especially the Metcalf and the 2023 second. Metcalf is severely underrated right now. I mean, him and Tyreek Hill are almost in the same plane as far as I'm concerned. A 2023 and Metcalf would probably be enough to get me Tyreek Hill, but Golladay and Marshall are nothing special, but they're nice depth pieces. Michael Pittman a 108 for the 101 and 209. I'm not a big fan of this class, but I will probably take Pittman in a 108 just to drop back from 101 to 108 and throw in Michael Pittman. I'm taking the Pittman 108 side. So that's it. We got a bunch of guys that are still waiting to get picked up. Quarterbacks: Mariota, Winston, Fitzpatrick, Cam Newton, Tyrod Taylor, Geno Smith, Jacoby Brissett, Andy Dalton, Joe Flacco, Brandon Allen, Blaine Gabbert, Nick Mullins, Kyle Allen. There's a handful of guys there. I think Mariota, Winston, and Cam Newton might fit somewhere. Tyrod Taylor's a good backup. That's it. Fitzpatrick, YOLO for a half season, great backup. But that's about it for that. Running backs, Fournette, I imagine he's going to end up back probably with Tampa Bay. Melvin Gordon could fit in a lot of places. He's a good running back. If somebody doesn't want Melvin Gordon on their team right now, I would go get him. Cordell Patterson. I just saw a couple of people talked about Cordell Patterson going to Washington to be a complimentary back with Gibby. That would be terrible for the Gibson owners. Sony Michel, Rashad Penny, another guy. I mean, there's a lot of decent running backs out here that can. Ronald Jones, James White, Raheem Mostert, Jarrett McKinnon, J.D. McKissick. He's on the list here, but he just signed right before the show started. Marlon Mack, and then it starts falling off with David Johnson, Justin Jackson, Deonta Foreman, Devontae Booker, Darrell Williams, Damian Williams, Giovanni Bernard, Carlos Hyde. So there's a lot of good free agents on the top end here, but then there's a whole lot of nothing. Le'Veon Bell, Brandon Bolden, Tariq Cohen, who's was electric. We talked about before, but nothing to trade there for. We're waiting to see where the landing spots for Fournette, Gordon, Patterson, Penny, and Jones, and then that's about it. As far as after that, it drops down. Allen Robinson, OBJ is probably going to end up back in LA with the Rams. So we're looking at Allen Robinson, Juju Smith-Schuster, Jarvis Landry got cut, Chark already got signed, Will Fuller, MVS, handful of guys here, but minus A-Rob and Juju, and possibly Landry, depending on the landing spot, I'm really kind of staying away from the rest of the receivers. Emmanuel Sanders, Traquan Smith, Zach Pascal, they're all replaceable in the draft. Tight ends, Gronk, we probably know what it's going to happen there. If he doesn't go back with Brady, he's probably not playing anymore. Tunyon, they're pretty stacked at tight end in Green Bay, so I'm not sure what Tunyon's going to do. Conklin, Gerald Everett, O.J. Howard, Hayden, some guys with some, big names before, but they really haven't proved anything, so they are going to get probably small contracts somewhere. Maybe as a depth piece, maybe a prove-it deal somewhere to prove it they can share the load in a 2 tight end set, but that's it. Other than that, there's nothing else on the tight end waiver. Well, thanks for joining me today. Sorry we were late, and we will try to be on time. I lost Scott halfway through, so it ended up being a solo pod, but that's okay. It is what it is. I have fun doing this. Thanks, Nick, for letting me use your airwaves. Again, join Nick's contest for the T-shirt and from Viridian Global. And I will see you later. Have a good one. Thanks.